So there's this concept in the singles playbook called the red zone. And the red zone we stole from American football. So the red zone in American football is basically once you get to it, you're very likely to score a touchdown. You're not going to score a touchdown all the time. So here's the red zone in the singles playbook. You're not going to score a touchdown all the time, but let's say like 65% of the time a team in American football gets to the red zone, they either score a touchdown or kick a field goal. They get points in some capacity. So another way to think about it is you're in the red zone, you're very likely to score points. Now, when it comes to tennis, we've taken that term because when you get to the red zone, you are very likely to win the point. You're not going to win it all the time, but if you can repeatedly get to this situation, you are going to win most of those points. And you're going to win the match as a result, right? So you basically want to build your entire game around getting to this situation as fast as possible. And we're going to talk about it from a right-hander versus right-hander situation. So we've talked a little bit about geometry earlier and inside and outside ground strokes. I'm going to fire through this a little bit quicker and not get into all the nuance, but basically the red zone is when you are standing over here in your backhand corner, but you are controlling the middle of the court with your forehand like this. Villain is over in the backhand corner, and we're going to go with the imaginary lines. So you are hitting forehands, inside ground strokes, cross court, long part of the tennis court, right? The highest percentage part of the tennis court. You're giving villain outside ground strokes, which are not as good as inside ground strokes, right? Less leverage over the tennis ball, can't do as much. And it's a backhand. So you're going strength at weakness, highest percentage part of the court, and you've got inside and outside ground strokes. So you got those three things stacked in your favor. I'll repeat it. You're going forehanded backhand, strength versus weakness, sword versus shield in our terminology. You're going highest percentage or longest part of the court, lowest part of the net. So you got the geometry working for you, and you've got inside and outside ground strokes. So you got physics working for you. You're able to pull the tennis ball, they're pushing it. So when you get to this situation, villain is trapped because the only way they get out of this is they hit a low percentage shot down the line, right? 78 feet, you can miss it wide, you can miss it long, higher part of the net. If they don't hit a good shot, then it's still on your forehand, and then you could rip it into the open court, hit a winner, whatever, come to net. So that's low percentage. The other thing they had to do is they could get it over here to your backhand, but you've slid over, you've made this a small target to aim for, and that's just a hard shot to do when you're going strength at weakness over there. So if you can navigate, if you can, that's what the singles playbook basically shows you, regardless of your opponent, and regardless of whether you're serving, returning, rallying, villains approaching, or heroes approaching, we show you how to navigate to this situation. Because once you get here, like I said, you are going to win most of those points. And if you construct your entire tennis game, your singles game around this, you're going to win a lot of matches. So the question was simply, what if I'm up here and my opponent is doing this to me? Like, what if, whether or not the person intuitively understands this, how do I get out of it? And the answer is, I just described it, it's very, very difficult. So you don't even want to get here, right? You want to avoid this as much as possible. Let me talk about actually one thing Federer does to avoid this exact situation. And he does this against Djokovic. He does this against a lot of players, but it's most noticeable, I think, against Djokovic. All right. So we're going to go Federer down here. Djokovic is up here. Imaginary line. Imaginary line. Okay. So you got Federer down here. You got Djokovic up here. They're in a cross-court backhand to backhand rally, outside ground strokes. And from this situation, right, the red zone is just a matter of, let's say, Djokovic sliding over and now he's got a forehand, right? Or Federer sliding over and now he's got a forehand. The problem for Federer is that Djokovic has a better backhand than Federer, so Federer is, let me rephrase it this way, Djokovic is more likely to end up in the red zone in a backhand-to-backhand rally than Federer is. So what Fed will also often do is in a rally like this, let's just say you just like generically go cross court like this. Djokovic is going to slowly inch over, right? He's going to rip a good backhand, and then he's going to step over because he knows that the ensuing shot is probably going to be somewhere over here. He's not worried about the down the line if he hits a really good shot. So what Fed will do earlier in a rally is he'll take a backhand and he'll aim it right there. He'll aim it like relatively big target. He's not trying to take risks. He's not going for a winner. His goal is to just hit a good shot with some pace that pushes back. So even though it's a forehand for Djokovic, he wants to push him back so that Djokovic hits the ball through the middle of the court, which now is a forehand for Federer, right? And then Federer would now have control of this point and be able to do some damage. Now, the way he did this actually goes back to a question from earlier, which is like, well, what about the surfaces? Is it different clay? Is it different hard court? Is it different grass? So this is what Fed will do on a hard court. But on a grass court, you go back, watch Wimbledon, what Fed was doing was instead of driving that ball, he would slice it like this. And he would keep it short and low. Djokovic would come in. The next shot would be like this, cross court. And then Fed would take that forehand down the line like this, and he would be Djokovic would have to move backwards to hit a backhand if he got it, if it wasn't an outright winner at all. So this was actually one of the most effective patterns, one of the most effective plays. The backhand alternating topspin slice is called the Swiss watch. That's in the singles playbook as well. But that was one of Federer's most effective plays against Djokovic in the Wimbledon final. Hope you like that training, and look, if you're like me, you have a fear of speed bumps. The good news is I'm slowly getting over it. Anyway, you should check out the singles playbook and the doubles playbook by clicking the link that just popped up or in the description. I'll take you inside, show you some of my favorite plays.